Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on, sit on down because today we're going to be looking into the interesting world of taxidermy. If you've ever been to a Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's, you've probably seen hundreds of stuffed animals that hang on the walls and ceilings. Dead carcasses stuffed in a pose forever. It's beautiful.
Would you ever get your pet stuffed?
I want to be stuffed. If there's any BBCs in my area, huh? Stuff me up. Gonna be called my asshole Build-A-Bear. That's because hunters are the biggest consumers of taxidermied animals and products, or so I thought. It turns out that there is a whole underground world of taxidermy where people are turning animals into purses and stuffing their dogs. But it goes so much deeper than that. Humans have been taxidermied since the Egyptians were mummifying pharaohs. But what if I said that people have been getting stuffed up until the modern day? So grab some formaldehyde and your favorite specimen as we get ready to delve into the freaky world of taxidermy. Starting with the basic stuff, the basic bitch stuff, animal taxidermy. One of the oldest and most infamous examples of taxidermied animals dates back to the 1730s in Sweden. During that time, many European monarchs were interested in exotic animals that came from Africa and other parts of the world. King Frederick I of Sweden was no exception to this, and in 1731 he received a lion from the ruler of Aarhus as a thank you for paying a tax to prevent pirates from raiding Swedish ships. While in Sweden, the lion was used to thrill guests as a symbol of power for Frederick. However, when it died, he wanted to preserve it and continue to use it for its original purpose. So, he sent it to a local Swedish taxidermist, and when he got it back, it was severely mangled. Didn't do a very good job. The skin was poorly attached around the frame, and the face had a cartoonish expression with human-shaped teeth, big goofy eyes, and a crooked wooden tongue. This is what it looks like. Awesome.
Not bad for the first taxidermy.
There's no way that was the first. 1730s, I feel like people had stuffed geese and shit all over the time. Right. Maybe the first taxidermied lion, but they definitely had some fucking deer heads and stuff. From that point on, it became a huge joke that was ridiculed by everyone who saw it for its poor quality. Today, it is still mocked as one of the worst taxidermy jobs, and thousands of people travel each year to see it in person. I love that you can still see it. I want to see it. Nick, is it in Sweden?
Yeah.
Because I want to say, I've always wanted to go to Sweden.
Me too.
Where the men and women are beautiful and tall. You ever see how tall, like, average height of a Swedish person?
6'3".
Something like that. You'd be like, you'd be like the size of their babies. Yeah, would you breastfeed on a woman's tit up there?
I don't know if they offered.
How long would you go for?
Until I didn't like it.
That's a hard parameter to follow. I don't like this anymore. With modern technologies and centuries to improve the craft, you'd think that taxidermy would never get that bad again. But you'd be mistaken. In many Chinese museums, there's a phenomenon where the animals on display are poorly reconstructed. At multiple museums across China, you can find deer with the wrong antlers, squirrels and other rodents that look flattened, and big cats with horrible facial expressions, similar to the lion from Sweden. Not only is the skin poorly attached and loose, but their poses along with their eyes make them all look uncanny. Across all of China, it is reported that there are only about 40 professional taxidermists. All of them are over the age of 40, with many having helped with animals in the museums. And many theorize that the reason why Chinese taxidermy is so bad is because it's a dying art lost to time.
They have like a billion people.
How do we know they don't think it's funny? They really assess it Tom and Jerry, so the lion has like a big hammer or something and he's getting ready to hit something?
Yeah, maybe it's an art form. Maybe
you press a button and then the thing rotates so it faces you and it does the Jerry scream. You have him scream? That'd be kind of fun.
I kind of like this. Sounds actually pretty cool.
Also, there's only 4. Do we have fact checking for this? 40 professional taxidermists? Isn't there like 7 trillion people in China? Raise your hand if you're a professional taxidermist. Today's video is sponsored by Fume, the leaders in flavored air. Breaking bad habits can be hard. Breaking bad habits can be hard. So why don't you let Fume help? Fume is not a vape. It's not an e-cig. It's just flavored air, which means you can use Fume anywhere, thanks to no vapor, no nicotine, and no toxic chemicals. And on top of that, Fume is an award-winning device that puts you on the path towards being free from bad habits. Ah! And just in time for the summer, Fume has new flavor air, mango! Ah! This tropical flavor is perfect for fueling your day and staying on the track with better habits. Ah! Fume is also there for when you're feeling anxious. Ah! Find your calm and center yourself with the satisfying clicks and snaps of the device whenever and wherever you need to. Ah! Over 500,000 people have already made the switch to Fume as part of their habit change journey. If you're ready to try it for yourself, now's the time! Ah! For a limited time, if you order the Journey Pack using my code PAPAMEAT, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Ah! Click the link at tryfume.com/popmeat or scan the QR code on screen to get yours today. Thank you, Fume, for sponsoring the video, and back to the video. And not all bad taxidermy is laughed at. There are many who intentionally create bizarre or unusual animals because there's a large market for them online. Jack Devaney is a British taxidermy artist based out of Plymouth who blew up online a few years ago for one of his creations. In a video uploaded to his YouTube channel, Jack shows off how he gutted a rat and turned it into a pencil pouch. Give him a little cheese. A zipper on its back allows you to access your pencils and you can sharpen them in its ass. That's awesome. That's kind of, I don't know how I feel about being like, I'm actually putting this up his butthole.
I wish it was his mouth, so he's like eating it. Like
yeah, if it would give this, you know, like, oh, look, he's sharpening it with his teeth. It's kind of weird to just be like, let me put this in his butthole. From there, his account blew up and he has gone on to create and sell all sorts of weird creatures. These include a dead rat magnet, a rat paw high-five machine made of rat paws glued to springs, a monster figurine made of chicken shins, and a functioning toaster with a complete rabbit upholstered around it, including the head, paws, and tail. It's adorable. Many people call him weird, and rightfully so. It takes a truly strange person to make creations like these. Not only does he sell dead rats and other animals, but he also has a website where he sells his used socks and underwear. Well, I mean, come on. If we're already in the market, I mean, there's money to be made. You know what I mean? Come on. Jack is one of many artists across the world who make strange taxidermy creations for a living. It has grown to become an international market that has swept the world by storm in recent years. That's what I'm saying, dude. If I'm just sitting there and I take a bunny and I fucking smash its head in, I cut it up and I'm like, let me put a fucking toaster in this.
What would you make?
And I'm shitting my britches and I'm pissing myself. I'd sell it online. Do you think people sell socks where they piss on them?
Yeah,
pissed on my
socks.
feet.
Yeah.
One of the most popular animals you can find online is a squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel taxidermy because they're so abundant.
That's true. There's too many squirrels.
They're also small and easy to kill.
And cute. And easy to kill. Anybody and everybody is taxidermy squirrels into bizarre abominations. If you hate your drink getting warm, then fear not, because a woman on Instagram has a solution. Meg is a self-proclaimed ex-vegan hunter and taxidermist who began creating the revolutionary product Squoozies. She takes dead squirrels, cuts them in half, and hollows them out, creating a fuzzy yet insulated koozie that fits most cans and beer bottles. Most.
Yeah.
Not all. Get that out of your head now. Meg's creation still has the tail and, in some cases, the scrotum attached to immerse the user fully. However, she is not the only person to create squirrel creations. Similar to Jack Devaney, people make squirrel wallets that you can hang off your bed. You can also buy squirrels dressed up in all sorts of outfits and in different poses.
Like a labubu.
That'd be kind of cool. Taxidermy blind box.
Oh.
It's gonna be smelly though, huh? Taxidermy stuff usually smells kind of weird. I think it's just because, well, you go into like an oddity shop, there's all kinds of chemicals and shit. It's like a very chemically smell. I guess if it's in your home, it probably wouldn't smell. Maybe. Unless the Chinese got a hold of it. We stuff these with oranges and potatoes. Outside of squirrels, you can find any wild animal turned into weird novelties. Etsy is one of the best places to find these novelties, and people go crazy for some of these items listed. From weasel slap bracelets to cubes made entirely out of compressed mice. If you can think of it, it probably exists. You want a cube of mice? Okay, that's awesome. Check out. Taxidermy of the wild animals is pretty normal, but some people even go as far to get their pets stuffed. On TikTok, an account called Nature's Fallen does special requests for people's pets. If you send in your beloved pet, they will be turned into a pillow. And on top of a pillow, you get their bleached skull, their front paws with ribbons, and an urn with their ashes. And if turning your pet into a couch ornament is too much, you can send them in to get preserved in a jar of formaldehyde. You want to play Jeffrey Dahmer?
I wouldn't want to do that with my best friend, Teddy Manx. Like when I was a child, I was like, oh, when my puppy dies, I want to stuff him. But now I feel like I want to respect their body by throwing them in the oven.
Good video. While some people are preserving their pets in unusual ways, others are turning to technology to keep a piece of their animals forever. In 2016, Bart Jansen lost his cat Orville after he was hit by a car and wanted to find a way to honor him and keep his memory alive. So, he took his cat's dead body and taxidermied it onto a drone. Orville's maiden voyage was in 2012, and ever since then, he has been flying through the sky. After seeing Orville's success, Bart was inspired to turn other animals into drones that weren't his. Since then, Bart has made a badger submarine called Das Boot, an ostrich copter, and a rat copter. His next project is the cowcopter, and he claims the hide is being tanned before it's fully assembled.
That's gonna be a big drone. A cow flying around.
You think he's trying to do it to where you can get inside of it? It's like a one-man helicopter?
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah, you get inside of it.
He like lands back down on his hooves. It's actually pretty sick. Despite animal taxidermy evolving into super weird niche for collectors, it is completely legal. However, there's a dark underbelly to taxidermy that involves human taxidermy. Humans have been getting preserved for thousands of years, with some of the most famous examples being the mummified pharaohs buried in Egypt's Valley of the Kings. Wouldn't really call that taxidermy as much as just religious rituals, but who am I to say? Other cultures, such as the Mycenaeans, created bronze death masks to preserve the dead, but those pale in comparison for some of the more macabre examples we're going to talk about. During the 18th century, oddity shows were on the rise around Europe as people traveled the globe in search of what they believed were the weirdest things on the planet. One of the main attractions that drew customers was the display of taxidermied people. Most of those on display were Africans who had lived in Europe or had been brought back from expeditions. Angelo Solomon, formerly known as Mamadi Make, is one of the most well-known examples, taken from North Africa to Sicily and sold to the Australian field, Marshal Prince Lobkowitz. Angelo was able to get proper education and lived better than most servants at the time. And with his education, he became a skilled Freemason and led the Freemasons for years. His social status rose. And before his death, he was part of the social circles of Mozart and the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. God damn. And when he died in 1796, the Emperor took possession of his body and buried only his entrails, despite his daughter's request. His skeleton and skin were then stuffed and put on display. The background of his exhibition was set in an American swamp featuring songbirds as well as capybaras. His corpse was on display on the Imperial and Royal Natural History Cabinet in Vienna until 1806, when it was moved to storage. In 1848, Angelo, along with countless other artifacts, was destroyed in a fire that ravaged the attic in which they were stored. Yeah, we'll display them for a bit and we'll put them in the storage unit. If you're going through all that trouble, at least leave them out there, you know, like have some respect. God damn. This practice continued well into the 1800s as oddity shows reached their peak, and more people were getting stuffed. Julia Pastrana was another victim of the oddity show. Born in Mexico, she had a rare condition that caused long, dark hair to grow all over her body. She was referred to as the nondescript and made her debut in New York City. From there, she traveled around the world performing songs and dancing on stage until she died in Moscow after giving birth to her son in 1860. Both Julia and her son were taxidermied and put on display, continued to travel the world until she was retired in 1975. Her body was later stolen and hidden in a sealed coffin until it was discovered in the archives at the University of Oslo. Scientists were given special permission to study her remains, and in 2013, she was finally laid to rest in Mexico. Just want to say real quick, did they ever say the baby died?
They just
Did they kill the baby? She's like, died giving birth to the baby, and they're like,
what do we do with this thing?
Stuff it. Unless it was like a stillborn, I don't know. There's just something missing there to where I'm like, was the baby dead? Put it up here. Do we have any idea? I want to know. These stories show just how far people will go to hold on to the dead. Not all hold on just for show, but some do it for love. Tuberculosis was sweeping the nation in the 1920s and 30s, killing thousands of people every day and leaving doctors looking for a cure. Elena de Hoyos was one of the victims suffering from the disease and was put under the care of Dr. Carl Tanzler. As soon as Carl saw Elena, he immediately fell in love. He went out of his way to give her special treatment and showered her with gifts, but she didn't have any feelings for the doctor at all. I plead.
You are gross.
You're a nasty man. Oh. When she died, he paid for her to be buried in a massive mausoleum, but he never gave the family a key, which made them suspicious of his intentions. It was reported that Carl regularly visited the tomb and even installed a phone to talk to her when he wasn't there.
Do you think he was hearing her speak to him?
I think he was talking to himself.
Oh, so
he's like, how you doing? I'm doing pretty good. That's him. He's like, I'm totally bricked up right now. I got sweaty, sticky syrup on my pants right now, baby. For real.
Is it sweet?
I don't fucking know. You have to tell me. Someone's in the doorway watching him. Dr. Tenzel, you have patience. You need to look after. Give me a freaking second. The other side of the wall. I can't fucking believe how hard I Dr. Tenser, please lower your voice. No! And still on the phone to talk to her when he wasn't there, okay? However, his obsession couldn't be stopped, and he eventually took her out of her grave and brought her back to his home. And for years, Carl lived with the corpse of Elena and preserved it to be the best he could. He stuffed her with rags and used coat hangers to retain her shape, and he replaced her hair and eyes with wigs and glass and constantly sprayed her with perfume to mask the smell of rot. He claimed that he would have her sleep in bed with him, but never did anything sexual.
Just role play.
I never did any of that stuff. Don't smell down there. I got my own rot. That's not her, that's my rot. Carl even built a laboratory shaped like an airplane in an attempt to bring Elena back to life, but he was never successful. Yeah, dude. He's like, I'm going to be Frankenstein. You're going to be my little bride. Elena's body was found when Carl was seen dancing around in his home with a woman. Elena's sister arrived at Carl's house and discovered her sister's body completely desecrated. He was arrested but never charged with anything, and Elena's body was put on display for 6,000 people before being buried.
Do you think he invited the 6,000 people to make it a show?
I'm wondering if it's that, or I'm wondering if the headlines, a mangled body. I mean, they would be. The curiosity would be there.
Yeah, everyone's bored at this time.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? There's no internet. You can't watch YouTube all day and TikTok. So he's just like, I heard there's like a body that he's stuffed with rags and hangers. Okay. Human taxidermy is not something of the past. It still happens in modern day. 45-year-old Anatoly Moskvin was a famous Russian historian who specialized in cemeteries and the dead. He published numerous articles detailing the adventures as he traveled to over 750 cemeteries on foot, stating that he would sleep at abandoned farms and drink from puddles to survive. All of his accreditations crumbled when he was arrested as the main suspect in a series of crimes involving the desecration of over 100 graves at a local cemetery. While in detention, police would arrive at his apartment where neighbors had been complaining of weird sounds and smells and unearth an unholy scene. Inside his apartment were 29 mummified bodies of young girls that he had stolen from nearby cemeteries. He lived with his parents at the time, and they believed that he simply had a weird fascination with dolls. However, while his parents were away for months at a summer cottage, he was mummifying the bodies he had stolen. And to do this, he would cover them in salt and baking soda and hide them somewhere to dry out in case his parents came home. Once they were dry, he would put their clothes back on and wrap their faces with nylon tights and put makeup on their face to make them more lifelike. And in some of the bodies, he put music boxes in them to make them more alive. And Anatoly also stated that he would sometimes talk with the dolls, believing they were alive. Hello there. Carl, get out of here! These are my dolls! His story gained international coverage for how insane it was, and he was deemed unfit to stand trial. Since his arrest in 2012, Anatoly has been in a Russian psychiatric hospital where he likely will remain until his death. You think people like that too he wants to be stuffed and someone dress him up, put him in a nylon suit and talk to him forever? It's kind of like a Jeffrey Dahmer kind of thing too, isn't it? You have to love me forever. You have to be here forever, be with me. He didn't kill them, but still, the concept is relatively the same. Give him a scarecrow.
Yeah, there you go.
Put a music box inside him and just plays Panama over and over again by Van Halen. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of sick. Some other modern examples of taxidermy are far more sadistic, like with the hospice nurse who stole a patient's foot to use it in a taxidermy decoration. In 2022, a 62-year-old patient from Spring Valley Senior Living and Healthcare Campus had suffered from frostbite on both of his feet after a nasty fall. This patient, Doug McFarland, got moved to hospice care and was treated by a 40-year-old nurse named Mary K. Brown. Mary's family owned a taxidermy shop, which had given the nurse a strange idea. She wanted to amputate the man's foot, preserve it, and display it in the store to warn people about frostbite. Huh? The sign she pitched for the display would read, "Wear your boots, kids." She was so amused by this idea that she performed an unauthorized amputation of the man's foot, and she claimed it was done in order to improve Doug's quality of life. The man died days later. While there was no proof that the procedure caused his death, Mary was still charged with causing intentional bodily harm and abusing an elderly person. And in the end, she dodged up to 40 years in prison by pleading guilty to lesser charges, and she was punished by the Board of Nursing and was forced to pay a court cost of $443. That's it. For cutting off a guy's foot. Yeah, I get it's frostbitten. It's not like he's gonna be able to use it, but still.
Do you think she asked him?
Well, yeah, okay. Yes, I do. I think she was like, can I have your foot? And he's like, no, it's mine. She's like, okay. And just wait till he was sleeping. Because it's like all the nerves are probably shot, so she's probably just like, this is probably a stupid question. If you cut off like a frostbitten foot, would it bleed still? Or is it all sealed? You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's a good question.
It's not cauterized, I guess. Or is it? Put up the blurb. Oh.
We learn something new every day.
Human taxidermy has gotten more frowned upon as time goes on. Though it's not common throughout history, the few instances that do exist, shockingly, what is more common is items made out of human parts. If humans being preserved wasn't freaky enough, there are people out there who sell and create different things out of human body parts. In our organ donor video, we talked about how there's a large market for body parts, both internal and external. And while that video primarily focused on the organs, there's also a massive market for human bones. If you search online, you can find multiple stores that offer assorted bones and macabre creations. Many sell bones to people needing them for educational purposes. However, there is a large demographic that simply wants them for collections. I'm talking human skulls, feet, hands, spines, all on elaborate display stands that cost thousands of dollars. The artists who produce these pieces work in a gray area, as many people question the ethics of selling human remains. Yet they continue to do it, as they can make thousands of dollars from one creation. And not all bone creations have a price, especially when it comes to your family. YouTuber Prince Midnight took his uncle's ribcage, spine, and hips and turned them into an electric guitar. Dude. So sick. After dying in his 90s, the YouTuber's uncle was donated to a medical school to be used in classrooms. However, after 20 years, schools stopped using real bones in classrooms, and he was buried in the ground. Instead of simply letting his uncle rot, he had the great idea to honor his uncle's legacy by turning him into a fucking electric guitar. Nicknamed the Skelecaster, he strums the chords from within his uncle's ribcage and says the guitar has a few quirks, but otherwise works perfectly. If he does not use that to make some kind of metal album, come on, man. How sick is that?
Black metal.
Anything. I take anything. I want to hear the music. Bones aren't the only body parts used for crafting. Books made from human skin are surprisingly common. One of the earliest examples is from 1635, titled The Treatise of Pin, an allegorical poem dedicated to Monsieur and Madame de Lorraine. To this day, it is the only known erotica book bound in human skin. Its pages contain poems about BDSM and other extreme fantasies. So sick. Think there's a little nipple on it?
Oh, yeah, that's like
The lock.
yeah.
I love that. Destinies of the Soul is another book bound in human skin, written by French poet Arsène and published in 1879. It explores the nature of the human soul. The original manuscript included a note from the author explaining his reasons for binding the book in human skin. Quote,
By looking carefully, you easily distinguish the pores of the skin. A book about the human soul deserves to have a human covering. I have kept this piece of human skin taken from the back of a woman. It is interesting to see different aspects that change the skin according to the method of preparation to which it's subjected.
does the woman know that you took it? You know? Man, the French are some greasy little bastards, aren't they? Beyond those books, numerous physicians have used a deceased patient's skin to make medical books as a way to honor them. However, there are a few books that are made from the skin of criminals that detail their crimes. So sick, dude. Being able to pull off and be like, this is this guy's. Also be able to touch it still. You know what I mean? Fucking weird. In 1827, William Corder was hanged for the gruesome murders of his lover, Maria Martin. He had murdered her and buried her in the floorboards of a red bar. After his death, his body was dissected, and doctors who performed the dissection saved some of his skin, which was used to bind books about the crimes he committed. And 6 years earlier, a similar circumstance occurred when John Hardwood threw a rock and killed a woman after it hit her in the head. He was hanged, executed at the Bristol Gaol, and he was dissected during a public lecture. Once again, the physician who performed the dissection took sections of his skin and turned them into a book about his crimes. For extra detail, a skull and crossbones were added to the cover. You think like a tattoo?
Yeah.
That's sick. And not all criminals were turned into books. Some were made into trophies. Tattooed skin in Japan is considered taboo because of its association with the Yakuza and criminals. Members would get their entire bodies tattooed with extremely detailed and colorful designs. These tattoos represented members' commitment to the clan, with specific designs having deeper spiritual meanings. And in 1907, Fukushi Masashi was a young pathologist studying the effects of syphilis on the human body. And at some point during his research, he came into contact with someone who had tattoos and noticed that they were partially cured skin lesions caused by the disease. Syphilis. Soon after, Fukushi became obsessed with tattoos, specifically traditional Arizumi tattoos worn by the Yakuza. To fuel his growing interest, he traveled to prisons and had incarcerated members donate their bodies so he could study their skin. Once the prisoners passed, he would carefully peel back the skin and scrape off all the meat and nerves. Then he would stretch them out and let them dry until they were fully preserved. At its peak, his collection reached 2,000 human pelts, some of which were wrapped on mannequins or proudly displayed on his walls. And in 1945, a majority of his collection was destroyed by American carpet bombing. He lost even more hides later when he traveled to America with several in his suitcase, which were stolen. Can you imagine opening up that briefcase? What the fuck? Today, 105 pieces still remain and are housed at the Medical Pathology Museum of Tokyo University, locked away from the public in a climate-controlled facility. While Fukushi Masashi preserved tattooed skin in the name of science, across the world, another man took a far more personal and symbolic approach to human remains. Big Nose George was an outlaw during the 1880s who was known for multiple thefts across Wyoming and Montana. He was a cowboy. After successfully robbing a military convoy, he went to a bar and bragged about it, leading to his arrest. And while in custody, an angry mob grabbed him and hung him up from a telephone pole. And after his death, the local doctor, John Osborne, took him home and dissected his body. He gave his brain to a surgeon and his skull to a 15-year-old girl. Here you go, sweetheart. However, he wanted something for himself, so he used some of George's skin and made a pair of shoes and a medical bag. Years after the shoes were made, John would run for public office and win the election for governor of Wyoming. And at his inauguration, he wore the shoes as a public statement against criminals in the state.
Do you think he made that speech?
I'm wearing these f***ers right now! I'm the big man in charge. Hey, if anybody commits crime, I'm gonna skin them. I'm gonna wear them. I want socks, more shoes, a jacket. I want a hat.
It's like that movie Deerskin. That'd be sick if he made a whole outfit of human skin.
Criminals weren't the only ones turned into trophies. Sometimes it was the innocent people who met the most horrifying fates. Ed Gein, classic boy, is one of America's most notorious psychopaths, having officially killed 2 people and being suspected of killing more. However, it wasn't his murders that made him infamous, but what was found inside of his home. Ed lived alone in his mother's cabin in Plainfield, Wisconsin, and turned it into a house of horrors. Over the span of 12 years, he admitted to robbing 9 graves and used bodies to make furniture, bowls, jewelry, and other household items. Window drawstrings made from women's lips, bowls made out of human skulls, chairs and lampshades upholstered from human skin, and a belt made from nipples. And various clothing such as vests, gloves, and masks, all made from exhumed bodies. After all the contents of his house were taken, he was deemed insane and sent to a Wisconsin mental hospital, where he would spend the rest of his life. And also, little known fact, or a very known fact, very well known, is he's the inspiration for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for Leatherface. So when you see Leatherface, know that was a real guy in the Midwest.
Was he retarded too?
He probably was. I mean, to make a belt out of nipples, that's pretty retarded. Now listen, the phrase art is subjective is often used when people can't understand the purpose of certain art forms. Taxidermy is one of those art forms to which this phrase applies. From trophy kills to cat drones to human furniture, taxidermy has seen numerous variations as it has evolved over the centuries. Death is frightening enough. Something that's gonna come for us all, right? But knowing you could end up as someone's trophy is even more horrifying for some reason to me. So, when you die, you can't control it. You might get turned into something.
Well, that's why I'm getting cremated.
You gonna get cremated? I'm too afraid.
Why? You're dead.
I am dead. But you know what my dream is?
You come back to life as a ghost? Oh.
Well, if I was a ghost, I wouldn't care because I'd be like, I'm a ghost and this is sick. But one, I'm super claustrophobic, so I don't want to be buried either, right? So this is what I do. Mausoleum, but it's an all glass. Big enough for me to where if I did come back, I was like, okay, hold on. And then the door handle only opens from the inside.
Right. So that way when I come to visit your gravesite and it's
I'll
open.
be all naked too. So when people see me for a while, you'll just see like my dick and everything, and I'll just be like,
God, that'd be awesome.
wouldn't it? I can't, I mean, it'd probably cost a lot. But that's another thing too. Don't leave anything for my children. Spend all of it
Yeah.
on the mausoleum.
For your pyramid like Nick Cage.
Yeah, dude. Wouldn't that be sick? Climate controlled too.
AC.
Yeah, oh my God, it feels great in here.
Would you have a TV in there playing all your favorite movies?
I would have a TV playing all my favorite movies, and then every once in a while I would also have a thing where if you came in, you could press play on it, and I'd be like, so this is me. It'd be like a video I recorded.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's my plan. All right, anyways, go fuck